Hello. Please forgive me if this is terrible. I haven't read the presentation on the plane, so it's going to be as fresh to me as it is to you. But Apex, we are a data science business, and we serve some of the biggest private equity funds in the world and some of the largest strategic acquirers in the world. Sometimes we co-invest alongside them, and very occasionally we do platform deals ourselves. One of the things that we do with our large acquiring partners is use data science to try and find the next big thing, or at least be slightly ahead of the rest of the private equity teams who have never used a beauty product in their life and are just waiting to be told by their daughters what to buy. So what we do in this instance is we build data science models based on, in this case, Reddit comments. So we ingested 3.5 million posts and comments across about 20 different beauty subreddits. And what our model does is it embeds those comments and posts in exactly the same way that ChatGPT embeds comments across its training corpus. And then we cluster those, a bit of feedback. We cluster those into relevant semantic clusters. We find the brand names, we find the ingredients that are growing the most quickly, and then we can show trend rates, progression, and try and find out what we should be doing, what we should be looking at. And this works for loads of different sectors. So we've done this in software. Most recently, we did it in gardening, which is the fastest growing hobby for British millennial women. So anyone looking to invest in the gardening business, I have many, many tips to divulge. But we'll move straight into what we found in beauty, because I think it's probably still the most active sector in e-commerce from an acquisitions perspective. So this is indexing all of the 1,500 topics that we found back to Q1 of 2024, and then plotting how the rate of change of those comments has progressed over the last 2 years. And this is a mix of semantic clusters. So that could be things like, how do I deal with acne? It could be things like how to deal with loose skin post being on Ozempic, but we've combined it here with some of the breakout brands and the brand groups that they fall into. So the massive growth, let me just double check. Yeah, microbiome brands has gone absolutely bananas in 2025. I think everyone's, particularly if you're familiar with the supplements industry, has been talking about the gut microbiome, but that's really becoming the skin microbiome as well. And then the second topic that we've identified is inclusive brands. I think people talk a lot about inclusivity, but it's very difficult to deliver on in an authentic way. But the brands that have really nailed those messages have exploded again over the course of 2025 and are set to break out in 26. The final piece is something that we work on a lot, which is expert influencer brands. I think the structural shift that's taken place there is that if you look back maybe 5 years, everyone thought celebrity brands were going to be the big thing. But when you ask Gen Z what their biggest motivators for buying a product are, the founder actually comes last in that list. But what these new influencer brands are genuine experts in their topic, giving trusted advice, and therefore the conversion rates are much, much higher. We work with some of the biggest creators in health and beauty, and their margin stack as a result of not having to pay a penny for advertising is phenomenal, and their conversion rates similarly are enormous. So to go on to the actual predictions themselves, so this is looking at microbiome beauty more specifically. So the chart in the middle is simply just the term microbiome on Google Trends, and as you can see in the middle of 2025 is an enormous step change. The big beauty acquirers have already started playing in this space, having made 5 pretty sizable acquisitions over the course of the last 4 years. I think the real change here is that people are realizing that microbiome doesn't just mean gut, and people trying to work out how to do this on the skin is the really interesting one. Of the 4 brands there, I think obviously everyone's heard of Bioma, which is the fastest growing beauty brand out of the UK. I think ever, probably TikTok's fastest ever growing brand, certainly Instagram's. So I can't claim that as one of my predictions as a breakout in 2026. But of the other 3, Luna Daily is an all body product rather than just a face product. I think 2025 was probably the year of the skinification of hair. But I think what we're seeing in 2026 is all body care coming to the same level of scientific reasoning that the face does. The next two are specifically really acne treatments, but they've gone slightly different directions. So they both have developed phage therapy. So a phage is a type of virus that targets bacteria on the skin. It's a much less aggressive form of acne treatment than, say, Roaccutane or any of the sort of traditional businesses. Both these businesses are quite small, but very, very science-led. The most interesting one for me, I think, is Parallel Health. So they actually take your own, they take samples from your skin and build customized phage solutions to solve acne. And I think given the size of the prescription acne market, that business could be absolutely enormous. It has had huge, huge explosions on Reddit and TikTok recently, given that acne, one of the useful things of this model is you could also see the level of emotion that people bring to a topic. Acne is the most frequently mentioned problem, and it's also the problem that people mention with the most passion and the most pain. So if you can have a less medicalized or a less aggressive solution to acne, I feel very confident that those brands are going to be, the big winners in 2026. So the next theme that we wanted to look at was inclusive beauty, and particularly the two brands that we've just shown on the graph there. I think it's important to point out that people have tried to do this before, but I think the brands that are coming out now have realized the mistakes of the past. You can't just put people of different nationalities on an advert and claim that you've been inclusive. Again, both of these brands are science-led. They genuinely are trying to target specific problems that are experienced by different types of people, and therefore they can advertise claims much, much more effectively than most generalist beauty brands. The fastest growing brand in our analysis is Edem. So any acquirers out there, I would definitely get on the phone pretty quickly, because I think that story is going to get picked up very, very, very shortly. And I'll keep going. So the final thing that I wanted to point out was the structural shift in the way that people are seeing celebrity brands. So I've just listed 3 of the big traditional celebrity brands that have closed in 2025. Gwen Stefani, Kate Moss, I can't even remember an actress. But again, why would you buy their products? You don't care. You don't care what their position is on beauty. They're not experts. They probably, as soon as the revenue isn't there, they get bored of the project. They move on to their fashion brand, onto their fragrance. Very, very difficult for them to hold an audience. When we compare that to Dr. Lee on YouTube, he goes by Derm Doctor, on TikTok, Dr. Shah, who is a dermatologist. He's had 1.5 billion views on his YouTube channel. And on average, people are watching those videos for half an hour. So the level of engagement on your specific product, you couldn't buy advertising like that. One of the things that we're in a fortunate position to do at Apex is we are TikTok's measurement partner in Europe, and hopefully about to be TikTok's measurement partner in the US as well. And one of the first projects that we've done with them is working with a series of the biggest health influencers and working out the value of the free media that they generate. I can't see a way, I haven't seen an advertising channel that will be able to compete with some of these people. I mean, the 1.5 billion view reach is not replicable through any advertising channel. And so I think in generalist skincare and in generalist products, so where we're not talking the high science of the microbiome, we're not talking specific niches within inclusivity, these celebrity brands are going to be incredibly, incredibly difficult to beat. They're bringing their own enormous followings to their brands. They're not taking years to grow. They're not burning through capital in that scale-up phase. It's an incredibly unfair advantage that they have against the competition. So nailing my colors to the mast, these are my 10 beauty brands to watch, and happy to talk anyone through any of them specifically outside during networking. But I thought I'd also put up ChatGPT's 10 recommendations. So I just put in 10 independent beauty brands to watch. They've gone a lot heavier on hair care than I have. But hopefully when I'm invited back next year, maybe Emmett can grade me versus ChatGPT to see who's the the better investor. But I do think that all of these brands are still independent. Some of them have taken some money. Hung Van Gogh has taken a pre-seed from Unilever Ventures. Remedy is completely self-funded. But again, I think the speed at which the traditional major acquirers are moving in niches is now so much faster than it used to be. They don't need to wait for you to get to economic scale for you to be a viable acquisition target if you nail your niche. And I think that is going to be the big acquisition trend of 2026 is much more important than the financials that you generate is the proof that you have dominated a profitable niche. And I think all of these brands are in the process of doing that. Just at the bottom, I've called out some honorable mentions from the specific fastest growing categories that our model identified. And again, this is really just to demonstrate the breadth of what this kind of modeling can do. So if you do have specific interests in beauty or in any other sector, or you would like to explore how to use this kind of modeling to find opportunities that other people might have missed, again, please do come and talk to me. But that's all from me. Thank you very much.